Why would they do that? Hello, my name is Bianca, and today I'm going to talk about everything that has recently disappointed me. And there's quite a bit to talk about. Now, before I get started, I just want to say that I don't think any of the series that I'm going to mention are bad. The series I'm going to be talking about, I found to be disappointing because they didn't meet my hopes or my expectations. You know, for some, I thought I had a general idea of what the story was going to be about, but then it turned out to not be the case, so I ended up being disappointed, which is, you know, it happens. I thought I'd make this video because I feel like disappointments are worse than something being terrible, because, you know, when something's terrible, it's just terrible and there was no saving it. But if you're disappointed in something, that means that you had hopes for it, that you wanted it to be good, that you expected to like it, and then when that doesn't happen, that sucks. So I'm just going to be talking about these disappointments because I feel like these feelings need to be let out, need to be shared. And you know, once you finish this video, I encourage you to leave your recent disappointments down below. So I'm going to be talking about different things, so manga, anime adaptations, movie adaptations, and we're going to start off with the manga. So the first manga series that has disappointed me recently has been Spy Family. Now, put down those pitchforks, those torches, because I don't think it's bad, I don't think it's terrible, I think it's good. Okay, so the main reason why I found Spy Family to be disappointing was because I expected something different based on the title. Okay, so I know that I'm the one to blame here because I kind of effed up. I didn't read the synopsis of the first volumes. So when I heard Spy Family, I thought we were gonna get a manga series about a spy family. Like, they were all spies and they were all like undercover and they were gonna have like different missions. I don't know, that's kind of what I was expecting. And just realizing what I meant to say was that I was expecting it to be like Spy Kids. In actuality, Spy Family follows a family, a fake family consisting of a spy, an assassin, and a telepath. But the thing is that the members of this family don't know about the other members of the family. So the spy doesn't know that the kid is a telepath and that his fake wife is an assassin, and the wife doesn't know that her husband is a spy and that her kid is a telepath, but the kid does. That leads to some shenanigans, obviously. And the series is fun, don't get me wrong, it's just when it turned out not to be what I was so certain it was going to be, it was a little disappointing. Once I got over like the premise not meeting my expectations, I continued reading because I did enjoy it, but there are only 40 chapters out, 40, I think 47, or closing to 50, I believe. But before the current arc, we hadn't really been getting a lot of moments with the family. We've had different arcs following individual members of the family. And you know, splitting up the family isn't terrible because, you know, you get to learn more about the individual family member, but each time you split off from the family, you meet like their own characters, and sometimes those side characters get like their own chapters, their own like mini arcs, and I'm kind of like, why are we wasting time with these characters when I'd rather be with the entire family, because those are my favorite moments. I don't want this to come across as like me hating on the side characters, because I don't hate them, I do like them, but I just don't think that they should be the focus, especially when the series is just getting started and I feel like I don't really know much about the members of the Spy Family, you know? The reason I've stuck around and continued reading Spy Family is because I really enjoy the main trio. I love Lloyd, I love Yor, I love Anya, and I just want them to be the focus of their own story. And like I've mentioned before, this current arc, they're the focus, they're away from the side characters, and I'm really hoping for the best. I'm really hoping we learn more about Lloyd and Yor and Anya, and you know, maybe Yor and Lloyd learning about Anya's true abilities or learning about each other's professions, because that would be amazing. And I feel like you can't drag that out for too long, because I already think it's been dragged out for far too long. So I want them to find out. Okay, so the next manga series that has recently disappointed me, and unlike Spy Family, I have dropped and I'm not going to continue reading, Fly Me to the Moon. I really wanted to like this. I really did. I guess you could say that I'm also to blame for this because I didn't do my research. So what I heard about Fly Me to the Moon was that it was a series about a couple who get married, but they get married because the girl tells the guy that she won't date him unless they're married or something like that. And I thought, oh, that's a weird little setup, but it sounds like a cute story about married adults. And as I've gotten older, I've been more drawn to stories about characters navigating adult life. So think series like Wotakoi and Sweat and Soap. But the thing about Fly Me to the Moon is that the characters aren't adults, or at least one of them isn't. Our main guy is 18 and our main girl is 16.
Why?
I didn't really like that. That really put me off. Also, the whole setup of their meeting, I think, is so freaking stupid in my opinion. Okay, so they basically meet because, slight spoilers, this happens in like the first chapter. You can skip it if you want. So the little meet cute is he's like walking towards like a bus stop and she's like at the bus stop and he sees her and he's like, oh my gosh, who is she? And he's like walking towards her but doesn't see that there's like a car coming and he gets hit by a car and like almost dies. She basically goes to him and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go get help, and like leaves, and he's like, no, if she leaves I'm never gonna see her again, so I have to get up all bloodied and go after her. And he does. Like, I know anime isn't supposed to be realistic, but this is just so dumb. I'm assuming as the series progresses you follow like their married life and you probably find out why this 16-year-old girl wanted to marry this random guy, and I wasn't really into it, so I'm not gonna continue reading it. Next, we're moving on to anime that disappointed me, and we're gonna start off with an anime that I didn't actually watch, but it still managed to disappoint me. The Promised Neverland Season 2. I can't believe they did this. I was so excited about Season 2. I didn't get to watch The Promised Neverland until December of 2020, and I binge read the entirety of the Promised Neverland manga at the beginning of January of this year because I knew Season 2 was coming out and I was super excited about it. But why would they do that? I'm kind of happy that I wanted to binge watch the anime, so I was gonna wait until the end. But when I knew Mr. was gonna show up in the anime, I was like, you know what, maybe I should just watch it weekly. And I was gonna start watching it weekly then, but then I saw that Mr. wasn't in the bunker when he was supposed to be. And I was just like, no. I just wanted to see him and hear him, but you know, I just have him in the manga. And I guess I'm gonna have to settle for that. Okay, the final anime adaptation I'm gonna be talking about is The Way of the Househusband. And can I even call this an anime adaptation? Because that wasn't what we got, not at all. So The Way of the Househusband was one of my most anticipated anime adaptations of 2021. The preview of this they released should have really prepared me, but I still went into it hoping that it wasn't gonna be like that. But then when it was, I was so disappointed. Especially because there were a lot of good elements in it that it's like, why didn't you just commit and make this into an anime? So only 5 episodes of The Way of the Househusband were released, and each episode was between 16 to 18 minutes long. So I only spent about an hour and a half watching this. And that's not a lot of time, but I still feel like I wasted my time, and I feel like everyone involved wasted their time. This was basically a step up from a drama CD, because drama CDs typically don't have visuals, so the whole anime could just consisted of panels from the manga that were colored, and you had professional voice actors and professional sound effects like you would for a drama CD, but you just had the additional visuals. Even though it was like super disappointing and I was let down immediately, I laughed a couple times, so like the humor wasn't completely lost. So just by the end I just kept thinking like, wow, if only this had been a proper anime, then it would have been amazing. But you know, choices were made. We'll see if they continue with it. I doubt it, because I don't know if anyone has really like enjoyed it. I haven't heard anyone talk about it actually. Okay, now we're gonna be moving on to our next and final category of disappointments, movie adaptations, and we're gonna start off with the Given movie. I was really looking forward to it because I love Given. I watched the anime like I think last year, and I started collecting the manga, and I've been loving it. Now don't get me wrong, I think the movie's really good, I really liked it, but I watched the movie first and then I read the manga, and after that I was kind of disappointed because the movie just cut a lot of scenes out, and while I was watching it, I actually felt like, oh, things are moving really fast. Like, the pacing is a little off, but maybe that's how it is in the manga. It's not. There are a lot of moments, a lot of cute moments especially, that were just cut. I don't know why. I guess because they really wanted to keep it under like a certain time limit. The movie does try to incorporate some of these scenes and moments at the end during the credits, because during the credits you get, I think they're like pictures of moments, but in the manga those are scenes. Those are the scenes that were cut out. And when I watched the movie I was like, oh, that's cool. When did that happen? But I didn't really think much of it until I read the manga and I was like, oh. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, like the emotional moments still hit, and I need more given. So can I get a season 2? Okay, and the final thing that has recently disappointed me has been the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie. Please don't attack me. So I'm not the biggest Demon Slayer fan. I watched the anime because it was being hyped up like nothing had ever been before. So I watched it and I was like, oh hey, it's good, it's good. But I didn't come out loving it. And that should have lowered my expectations for the movie, but I fell for the hype again and I ended up being disappointed again. Okay, I'm kind of gonna get into spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled on the Demon Slayer movie, though how you were able to avoid these spoilers, I don't know. But if you don't want to be spoiled, you can skip ahead. So for the longest time, I've known about Rengoku's fate. Like, I knew he was gonna die at the end of this movie, and I knew it was supposed to be emotional. Going into this movie, I thought, okay, so if he's kind of like being introduced and dying in this movie, then he's gonna play a big role, because a lot of people were saying how his death was very emotional and impactful, not just like to them but also to the Demon Slayer characters. But then after watching this movie, it turned out differently than what I was expecting. Rengoku's barely in this. I would say he's not even the focus of this movie at all until the end, which the end really felt like it came out of nowhere, and it felt like it shouldn't have happened during this movie, but it did. So at the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Rengoku very quickly, and he has a very short conversation with Tanjiro about Tanjiro's father, and then after that they basically just fall asleep and then they enter like their individual dreams. And I knew that dreams were going to play a big role because of the trailers, so I thought through the dream elements that we were going to learn more about Rengoku. But we only got like 2 scenes. We got the one where we meet his dad, and then we get the one with his brother, and that's it. Like, we focus primarily on Tanjiro and Tanjiro's dream world, and then we don't see Rengoku until he's released from the dream and he's like fighting and protecting the people. But he's not even the focus of that. Like, we're mainly focusing on Tanjiro and Inosuke fighting the main demon. Like, going into this movie, I thought that Rengoku was going to be the one that like defeated the main villain, but at the cost of his own life. After Train Demon is defeated, Akaza shows up, and then Akaza and Rengoku just start fighting, and that's how Rengoku dies. Like, I don't know if I missed something, maybe I did, but why was Akaza there? I know he was mentioned, but why did he have to show up? Why was he so insistent on fighting Rengoku? It didn't really make sense to me, and it just felt like such a random fight that was just like thrown at the end of this arc. I couldn't put my finger on how we got here. I was just kind of like, that's it? This is how he dies? This is how he goes out? And people were crying over this for some reason? Like, I couldn't understand why people had grown to care so much about Rengoku when he wasn't the main focus of this movie until the end. So all of the emotional stuff with Rengoku just didn't hit with me. Like, the only time that I found myself like ready to cry was when Tanjiro had to leave like his dream, leave his family behind. That got me. But the Rengoku stuff I just didn't connect with because it was presented like so quickly, and yes, it's sad, but I don't know you, Rengoku. I can feel bad, but not enough for me to cry. Maybe I'm a little heartless because I didn't feel anything for Rengoku. Like, the only reason I think I was sad was because Tanjiro and Inosuke were sad about it, but at the same time I was like, wait, why are you guys so sad? Is it because he's just someone who is dying? Because you don't have a bond with him. Like, you had one conversation with him, Tanjiro. Inosuke, you had no conversations with him. You just felt his power and you were like, I'm impressed, and that's it. But I didn't really feel the Rengoku sacrifice. I really felt for Tanjiro and for Inosuke, but again, if I question it, it's kind of like, okay, but why do you guys feel bad? Because you barely knew the guy. But yeah, that was basically the reason why I was so disappointed with the movie. Other than that, I thought it was really good and it made me excited for season 2. Like, it made me like Tanjiro more and it made me like Inosuke more. Because when I watched the anime, I didn't care for them. The only character I cared for was Giyu, even though he was only there for like maybe 5 minutes. He's one of those characters where I saw him and I was like, oh, dark-haired guy, vacant look in his eyes, he has trauma. And I was into it. And yeah, those are all series that have recently disappointed me. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't think any of these series are bad. In fact, I enjoyed basically all of them. I just had different hopes, different expectations, and when they weren't met, I was left feeling disappointed. It happens. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, remember to like, to subscribe, comment whatever you want to down below. I encourage you to tell me about your recent disappointments because again, you need to let that out. You need to share those feelings. And you can do that down below. Again, thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time with another video. Bye!